back at the workshop because, wow, I can't keep away. I've been busy all day working, and it got to the evening and it's like, well, I could either relax or I could come and do the fucking car. So I thought I'd do the car. Never took the front bumper off one of these before. Turns out, super easy. While I was at it, I removed all the fucking trim and shit that normally goes under the bonnet because, well, I don't think I use it, and I know it's only plastic, but it weighs a fair bit. That front bar, again, it is a crash bar. It's lighter than the rear one, but in all honesty, it serves no purpose. It doesn't attach to the bumper in any way. It's literally just to stop the radiator and stuff getting as easily mashed if you hit anything. But to be honest, if I hit something, it's doing damage regardless, so I'd rather just have the less weight. It's not going to make that much difference. One thing I noticed is this aircon rad is absolutely fucked. Look, it's literally well, what's not already missing just crumbles in your finger without even trying. And that's not a big deal because I wasn't planning to use any aircon, but I did want to reuse, well, we was thinking of reusing the radiator for the aircon as a charge cooler radiator. But A, it's fucked, and B, to be honest, the inlet and outlet lines are so small, I think I prefer something else anyway. So that's another thing to buy. Not much money, but still, it's money. But yeah, front bumper comes off super easy again. This whole car's, they are made to be very easy to work on. This is what's in the front, by the way. You could make a twin engine one of these without that much difficulty, you know. It's quite a lot of room. Well, the actual water radiator is just as bad, if not worse. Absolutely fucked. No big deal. I mean, you know as well as I do, I'm sure. Aftermarket radiators these days are 10 a penny thanks to China and eBay, and they're all about as good as each other. So I'll have to spend 100 odd quid on another one. I mean, it's never a bad thing, but I'd rather not spend money when I don't have to. But this is knackered. It's properly caned. So yep, new radiator time. The previous owner reckoned it was overheating and he blamed it on head gasket. But looking at this, maybe there's nothing wrong with the engine. Maybe it's just the fact that the radiator is absolutely caned. Don't know. Either way, needs a new one. Right, car's on the lift. I guess it's time to take the engine out. Before I do that, I'll show you something. These are the standard wheels. I quite like them as a wheel. The offset shit, they're like ET45, but they're very light and I think they look quite smart. One, it's funny, they are staggered. They look pretty much identical, but they're not quite. The rears are 6.5, the fronts are 6. The offset shit, but, and I don't know where I've got these from, but I've got some 4x100 spacers, set of 4. I've had them for years. I can't remember what car I had them on. I don't remember having any 4x100 car with spacers, but whatever, I've got them. So I reckon I'm going to run these with some decent tyres and spacers. I mean, the original Corolla wheels, you know, before the crazy new ones I've got, they were running 215 wide semi-slicks on the front on a 5.5. So these with 6.5, I've got no problem running 225, 235, you know, whatever on them. So I can run wider than most people will run on their fucking MR2, even with wider wheels, wide tyres, just not very wide wheels. I don't care. I prefer that look. I don't like fucking stretch. I like meaty tyres. So yeah, that's not a problem for me. So that's good news. It means I can keep these. I'm going to refurbish them, either get them done professionally or do them myself, but they are fucking terrible at the moment. They're just, it's all peeling off. I like the colour. I like it being a very light silver like the car is, so I'll stick with that. But yeah, they need fixing. From what I remember from Thomas doing is, to whip the engine out of this, you undo the drive shafts from the hubs. I think you undo the hubs from the shocks, so then you've got enough room to pull the drive shafts out. And then the engine box and drive shafts, you just undo the engine mounts and drop it all down complete. There's like a chassis bar thing going front to rear that's going to be in the way of the shafts by the looks of it. Don't know whether Thomas's one even had that or not, but it's not hard to remove by the looks of it. So yeah, I better get cracking. Well, I had a goal of removing the engine tonight. Bearing in mind I didn't get here till, I don't know, 8 o'clock at least. I can't remember. Either way, it's 20 to 1 in the morning and I'm not getting out just because of one fucking bolt. That one there, it's seized into the bush, so while it's undone and it turns and turns and turns, it will not come out of the fucking bush. And without me able to remove that bar there, which goes front to rear, it's like a strut bar sort of thing between the subframe, you know, the rear part here and the front. Without me being able to remove that, it's basically, can't easily drop it out. So yeah, I'm defeated. I'm gonna obviously carry on and on and on until I get the fucker out. I might have to just cut it, but this time of night, nah, fuck that, I can't be bothered. I'll do it tomorrow. Apart from that, it's relatively easy to get them out. I wanted to keep the clutch line, so I've carefully removed it, because the clutch line on this actually goes straight into the Volkswagen Audi one, which is fucking ideal. Basically what you need to do is undo the hub nuts, undo some arms, and whatever, undo most of the fucking things, to be fair, from the rear hubs, and then you can pull the drive shafts out, which is easy. Then you need to remove those two, you know, front to rear bars. This one come out no bother, this one is stuck, so fuck it. I mean, like I said, it's loose, it's halfway out, it is just not coming anymore. And fucking hell, I mean, it's never going back in anyway. I've probably mushroomed the end, like hammering the absolute fuck out of it, but it's not even getting anywhere near that bit yet. I'm guessing the metal bit inside the bush at the end of that is spinning with it inside the bush, and it's fixed solid to that, so it's just not coming out, so it's going to need cutting. That's my guess anyway. I'll tell you what though, considering this car has stood around forever, and from what I can understand looking at its MOT history, it's even lived on the Isle of Wight, which is not a good place for fucking cars if you don't want them to go rusty. And bearing in mind it's a Jap import, so it's got very little in the way of rust proofing. It's fucking good. Like, the rear subframes on these are known to corrode badly. Thomas's one is, for example, and it's solid. I mean, there's surface rust everywhere, don't get me wrong, but again, underneath, it's got no fucking rust proofing on it at all. I don't know how much the UK cars have, but this has got fucking nothing. Nothing at all. And it ain't rusty. It is paint. There's a few, you know, surfacey rusty bits, but so what? So yeah, fucking good times. I'm gonna have to, well, I don't have to, but because they look fucking shit, and to keep them alive, I'm gonna remove, or at least rub down and spray in situ, all these sort of strut bars that these cars are full of. But yeah, rust free, which is really good, because I've seen a few rusty ones of these and this isn't one of them. Just tidying up, and just thought I'd show you what I've removed so far from the car that's not going back on, and it's a lot. This bin is full, and that's, I don't know, fair bit. That must be 10 plus kilos of shit. But there's this one seat full of mostly metal, all of this shit. I don't know how much it all weighs. I'm not going to weigh it all because it would be a lot of work, but I think it's fair to say it's probably about 50 odd kilos at least. I mean, that exhaust alone is fucking heavy. So yeah, quite a lot of weight to come out of it without, you know, without changing anything. It's gonna look externally as it always did. Internally, it's gonna look the same, minus, you know, what's behind the seats, and, you know, that don't matter. You know, in the front, in the actual cockpit, it's gonna look standard. But there's a lot of weight to come out of it. And there's still the two catalytic converters, which is part of the exhaust manifold. They're heavy. It's got aircon compressor and all that, which obviously is not going back on because the new setup won't be with aircon. So yeah, it's going to be considerably lighter than standard, but I don't know. I'm certainly going to weigh it once it's all complete to see what it weighs versus the factory figures. I think the factory is 965 kilo, which is, well, don't get me wrong, that's light. For a modern car, that's light. They are, you know, that's part of the reason I like the idea of these, is because they're fucking light. Lightness is number one, you know what I mean? It's all well and good you saying, oh, I've got such and such horsepower, where most of these cars these days are 1500 kilos plus. This car, even standard, is half a ton lighter than a lot of modern cars. It's the next day and things have arrived. That's the engine I'm going to use. That one's just a spare one that Thomas has had for ages. But the exhaust manifold arrived. So I decided to use this engine to mock it up to see what it would look like. And the answer is really good. I'm not used to using like small turbos on things. It feels weird to me. Although, as you can see, it's not exactly a small turbo. It's just small for what I'm used to. It's a HX27 whole set. So good for, I don't know, 350, 380 brake, something like that. And yeah, it's brand new from Compressor Racing. It's like, what would it cost? Like 400 quid, something like that. It was hardly anything. But it's ideal for me because A, it's compact, B, it spools up out of fuck all, and probably the most important thing for me is it's got a relatively big turbo housing. I mean, it's still small, but it's an 8.5 centimeter, which is, in my opinion, more what you need for a turbo this size to really work out properly on a good size engine. There's so many people run like 6 centimeter housings and stuff like that and then wonder why they don't, you know, can't honestly push the limit of the turbos on like 1.8 or 2 litre engines. It's because the yaw turbine house is too small, in my opinion. But this one, which is still, you know, will spool out of nothing, will breathe a lot better, so it's ideal. Manifold's pretty good. I'm quite impressed with that. It's literally £100 including delivery, T2 flange, you know, T2, T25, T28, whatever you want to call it, turbo I got from Germany off eBay, and It's cast, as you can see, but as you can also probably see, 2 and 3 and 1 and 4 are kept separate all the way to the turbo. There's quite a nice like merge at the collector, and yeah, it's really good. I'll be quite excited to see how this will perform. How everything is laid out, you know, how the housing's orientated is spot on, I would say. Need to rotate the center core 90 degrees, so that is at the top, that's at the bottom. But apart from that, it's bang on. Even oil return is ideal to reuse at least some of the original pipe, or maybe all of it. So yeah, really fucking good. Quite excited now. I'm gonna run a charge cooler, which also arrived. So yeah, fair size alloy charge cooler off eBay. I mean, that's bigger than the one the Boosted Boys run on an MR2. It runs 7, so it's good enough. It's plenty big enough, and it will be like above the gearbox on this side of the car, so the pipe would go there and then there. I've got a BAM inlet manifold, which is quite important for this setup because it needs the throttle on that side, and on all other 180s the throttle is on the opposite side, and there's not really the right room there. There's a far more room on one of these on that side, but a BAM inlet is common as muck and not expensive. Design wise, they're practically the bloody same, in all honesty. It's literally just reversed. There's nothing fancy about it. Neither manifold is particularly good. I kind of almost prefer the design of this one slightly, but there's very little in it. But this is the one that's needed, and yeah, hopefully it should all fit into place. But first things first, need to get the engine out of this, which I gave up on last night because that one fucking arm is stuck, because I'm pretty sure the bolts seized up into the metal bit in the bush. But I'm going to do a bit more hammering now and see if I can sort it. Just taking this thing apart, and I just took the engine cover off and I saw that sticker, SMR engines. Never heard of them, so I thought I'd look it up. And basically it's a UK company who does rebuilt and reconditioned and whatever engines, or used to be. And if you Google them, basically it's only bad news. They either don't send people the engines, or build them utterly shit fucked engines. It's just one big rip-off scam. They don't seem to exist anymore. But you Google SMR engines and it's that logo, so it's definitely them. And they are everywhere, especially with Subarus, but all kinds of cars. So yeah, no wonder this is fucking broke if it's been to them. Oh dear. How many earth wires do you really fucking need to your battery negative terminal? Look at them all. It's ridiculous. And there's more earth wires going from, like, you know, the engine to the chassis and stuff like that, but this is purely stuff connected to the battery negative. And some of these branch into 2 later on and stuff like that. It's like one of those fucking episodes of Pimp My Ride. Yo dog, I heard you like earth leads, so I earth leads your earth lead and added some earth leads. Fucking ridiculous. And there you have it. Engine is out. So that is an engineless Mark III MR2 with lots of room for activities in the form of putting a 180 in it tomorrow. That is the shitty original engine, which is dog shit. So yeah, tomorrow we are going to use the mock-up engine to, well, do a mock-up. No point fitting the one that's gonna go in it yet, because it's still fully dressed with all the bits and pieces and wires and loads of shit I don't need. So I might as well use the bare engine along with the manifolds that I'm planning to use and the ancillaries off the other one, and make sure everything fits. It looks like it will, but the only way you really know is by trying. So that will be tomorrow's job. Overall though, I think that'll do for this bit of filming. Oh, I'll tell you what as well. That bolt that was being a complete penis, in the end I cut it out. I wasted far too much time. In the end I cut it, and annoyingly it happily slid out backwards. So it was kind of good I cut it, because it allowed me to get it out this way. But why it wouldn't go through is beyond me. But it didn't, and even after I'd cut it, it refused to go through. So you couldn't even work out what it was jamming on, but it was obviously rusted up inside just at one end, because it pulled out, it just wouldn't push through. So hey, done. Well, that's good, because it means I didn't have to cut the arm or anything to get it out, which is a big relief. So yeah, happy days. Plenty more to go on this. Thomas said something earlier. He popped over earlier. He hasn't been here all day, but he popped over for an hour. And he was looking at stuff. And he said, kind of what I've been thinking all along. He's like, surely you don't need rods and everything for the 300, 330, 350 brake that's got. Surely with a good map, it'll take it. And when it doesn't, just then build one. And I've been thinking this all along. I know it's always recommended on these to do rods and maybe exhaust valves, and then they're really bulletproof, like people pushing fucking 500 plus horsepower like that on stock pistons a lot. And I know the rods are a weak point at 300 pounds upwards, but people have still pushed more than that from them. And I don't know, in my head at least, I'm very, very contemplating giving this a health check to make sure it's all good, whipping the sump off and, you know, checking out the bearings and all that to make sure everything's healthy, and then fucking sending it. Do you know what I mean? A 300 to 350 brake in a car that's 400 kilos lighter than the typical cars these are in. It's going to have an easier life than in the usual application, and mapped well to be, you know, progressive without a big fucking torque spike. Surely it'll cope, at least for a while, because I'm going to end up going spastic on that soon anyway. So, you know, that could be for that engine. But for this engine, I reckon it'd be fine. I don't know. But anyway, I will decide that as time comes. But in the meantime, hope you like this video. Thank you for watching. All that kind of stuff. Oh, the flexi pipes arrived for the MX-5 as well, so I can get on with that shortly. But yeah, hope you liked it. Like, comment, subscribe, you know, all that stuff. Run and tell your friends, and I'll see you next time. Bye.